President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron stressed the necessity of self-restraint. Minister of Foreign Affairs says Israeli occupation forces is enforcing a starvation policy on more than 2.2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces inspects the security measures on the Southern Strategic Direction. You're now watching the latest updates in Egypt on Qnews. Moving on for the latest developments. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron have stressed the necessity of self-restraint to break the cycle of mutual targeting that threatens to plunge the entire Middle East into regional conflict. The two presidents reviewed the ongoing efforts to cease fire in Gaza and Lebanon and to urgently deliver sufficient humanitarian aid. The two presidents emphasized the importance of respecting Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity, reaffirming their support for Lebanese state institutions. Egypt has condemned all actions that threaten the security and stability of the region, as well as the need to avoid exacerbating the fragile situation and escalating tensions. In a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Egypt cautioned against the dangers of the ongoing escalation, which could push the region towards a perilous confrontation, jeopardizing both regional and international security. Egypt reaffirmed its call for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip as part of a comprehensive agreement that includes the release of prisoners. This approach is viewed as the only viable means to achieve de-escalation and is crucial for fostering the necessary calm in the region. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has urged Israel to cease escalation and comply with international humanitarian law. In a call with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Abdelati warned of the severe consequences of a regional war would have on security and stability. He also stressed the need to expedite unconditional humanitarian aid to Gaza and condemned Israel's ongoing violations of Lebanese sovereignty. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati has said that the Israeli occupation is enforcing a policy that is starving more than 2.2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. He added that the occupation forces aim to force civilians to abandon their homes in Gaza, the West Bank, and Lebanon. Abdelati highlighted in a joint press conference with his Ukrainian counterpart that de-escalation in the region is closely linked to the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. He expressed hope that the genuine efforts being made in Qatar and the United States will yield positive results, emphasizing the need for political will and seriousness from the Israeli side. He believes that these efforts are essential for enabling countries to find a solution to the ongoing catastrophe and the tragic conditions in the Gaza Strip. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdelati has said that the issue of water is existential for Egypt, adding that Egypt will not compromise in preserving its rights. During a joint press conference with his Ukrainian counterpart, Minister Abdelati emphasized Egypt's clear and unequivocal stance. He characterized his position as balanced, rooted in a commitment to respecting international law, upholding the principles of the United Nations Charter and honoring state sovereignty. Egypt Air has announced that due to the events taking place in the region, the company's flights to Baghdad, Erbil, and Amman have been cancelled today until the situation in the region stabilizes. Egypt Air asked customers to review their reservations by calling the Egypt Air call center. Deputy Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs for Migration, Refugees, and Combating Human Trafficking, Wael Badawi, has affirmed Egypt's commitment to fulfilling its international obligations towards refugees and migrants. The Deputy Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs highlighted the Egyptian state's efforts to receive and provide the necessary services to more than 10 million immigrants and refugees. He also emphasized the burdens Egypt bears in this regard, despite the economic challenges emanating from regional and international crises. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has stressed the continuation of vital projects aimed at benefiting the governorate's people. He pointed out that the state is currently aiming to rebuild Egypt's governorates. During his tour of Suez Governorate, Prime Minister Madbouli reaffirmed the government's commitment, stating that no governorate will be left behind in the nation's development efforts. This aligns with the Suez governor's request to include the governorate's rural sector in the presidential initiative Decent Life or Haya Karima. The governor also called for the development of older public housing areas that were built after the Glorious October War more than 50 years ago. Lieutenant General Ahmed Khalifa, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, has inspected the security measures on the southern strategic direction. This comes as part of the General Command of the Armed Forces' keenness to follow up on the security situation of the border crossings and outlets on all strategic directions of the country. The Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces visited a number of security points on the southern border line to check on the security system and the living, as well as the administrative conditions of the combatant individuals. Lieutenant Khalifa praised the soldiers' high combat readiness in the southern military region and their ability to deal optimally with all emergency situations. Minister of Environment Yasmin Fuad has confirmed that the Green Climate Fund approved the financing proposals for the multi-country programs Greening Financial Systems, the Smart Resilient Agriculture Investment Fund, and the Resilient Water Infrastructure Expansion Facility, with a financing package estimated at approximately $3 billion. During the 40th meeting of the fund's board of directors held in Incheon, South Korea, Minister Yasmin pointed out that the program provides financing of up to $1,295 million, of which the Green Climate Fund contributes $200 million to implement the program in 14 Asian and African countries, including Egypt. Minister of Health Khaled Abdel Ghaffar has stated that the 100 Days of Health presidential initiative provided 135,715,325 medical services since the launch of the second edition till now. The ministry spokesman Hossein Abdel Ghaffar explained that the campaign provided 545,278 services yesterday, adding that according to the Division of Services of the various sectors, agencies, and initiatives, the 100 Days of Health campaign provided 49,744 services through the primary care and family planning sector. Minister of Housing Sharif El-Shirbini has announced that the launch of the Social Housing Fund and Real Estate Finance Support for the Housing for All Egyptians advertisement. This initiative is targeted at citizens with low and middle incomes. The Shirwini highlighted that the fifth phase of the Housing for All Egyptians initiative will provide 78,730 housing units designed for low and middle income citizens. These units will range in size from 75 to 90 square meters. Additionally, starting November 18, 2024, citizens with disabilities will be able to purchase the conditions booklet for the announcement, facilitating access to these housing options. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Urban Development Fund, Khalid Siddiq, has said that the DARA initiative within the Presidential Initiative to Develop Provincial Capitals and Major Cities targets 500,000 housing units, the first phase of which includes 100,000 alone. He continued during his speech at the handover of contracts for the units of the Presidential Initiative to Develop Provincial Capitals and Major Cities, DARA, that the demand for the project in Suez Governorate was great.